Hi. Hello, this is Divine Sunshine for the Playground Experience. I have my co host here, Kathy D, and my other co host, April Williams. So today, what we're going to do is just pretty much, yeah, today we're going to just kind of free flow it and just kind of come up with this topics or whatever this comes up to mind about the twin flame experience and the journey. We had said something earlier. What did you say, April? You said we could maybe talk about and focus what again?
Um, we were right before we were kind of just chatting amongst ourselves about what it was as we were stepping into our respective healings, and we were talking about the relationship and dynamic with karmic energies and entities.
11.
And so as we started talking and clearing this energy, I could feel shifts happening in my body and things loosening that were tight before. So I think as long as we keep the conversation dynamic and we're working at the heart of the matter through an empowered way, we're able to anchor that in together. Yay, bonita!
Hey, Bonita! Oh,
My twin.
come on into
Twins
the
on twins on twins over there.
Yeah.
so like the old like some people say, how's those energies for you all that's going on now? How's it affecting you? We were talking about earlier about me and nice things that's happening to my body right now in these new things we have going on here. And so April was talking to me and telling me about just being at the forefront, how I experience things before anybody else do. And so you all kind of get it a little bit more later, filter on. But how are you all doing with these energies? You all, she said, yeah. Bonita said, yes, yes, these
Oh,
energies.
yes.
Praise the Lord. So what's going on with you all? Do you got any new changes going on with you as far as these energy shifts happening?
um,
Okay, hey, April.
the funnest new one that was kind of made me feel extra weird
Okay.
was I was walking through a door and something happened with my body. It got into a specific position. And then all of a sudden I started like channeling, feeling like I was in that beam of light, BBM Scotty, and then light language was coming out. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is interesting.
Okay. Okay.
But I felt really great in terms of having processed and elevated, like sealing in the elevation. The last episode that we did on the playground, we did an energy healing at the end.
Yes.
And I felt like that's starting to initiate because that helps lock in our connections as twin flames for the major points. At least that what it felt like. And so, yeah, it was really really cool experience.
Yeah.
Like the
Catch
vision, like you said something to me. Sorry, no worries. You said something to me, or said something to both of us on our group text, and then that remember that guided meditation that just came through. It came through like immediately. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna and that's a long text considering it had a decent flow to it and it was actually elegant. That's why I was like, that must have been led by spirit because this Mercury and whatever is going on with me and technology is not working out very well.
yeah. When that Mercury retrograde hits, it's quite interesting. I mean, you make it what you can out of it because I know if I've experienced it, and sometimes I didn't even know it was Mercury retrograde that was occurring. And that was the best one that I had. But once I kind of knew it was like, oh rats, it's Mercury retrograde. Yeah. But yeah, it depends on your mindset too. Sometimes you can ride it. If you don't know about it, it doesn't affect you. But when you do kind of sell into it and you keep on hearing people saying different things about Mercury retrograde, then it kind of like you get kind of burdened down by it. But Kathy D, how are you doing with these energies? Anything new?
Just a lot of, ear buzzing, popping, sounding like I'm underwater. I know Bonita's getting the
Yes.
popping, and so a lot of that, but then a lot of really the clairvoyance, just just knowing things, and then being able to just say things and have it go, how'd you know that? or, you know, and then, so a lot more of that is coming in. I think one thing about being home so much with the quarantine has enabled me to put my walls down a lot more. You know, because when you're, especially in a school situation, so you've got, you know, I have 109 bodies that cycle through my room all day, and you block yourself from that energy, and then, you know, different people you run, you know, you're just kind of protecting yourself the whole time, and you really get your walls up. And I think being at home, one of the other nice things about that is I have been able to, you know, put some of those walls down more, so still keeping the protection up, but not as much as I had to when I was out in a public situations. Let a lot more things flow through.
I've been a
Okay.
lot more self-forgiving, I've noticed. A lot more self-forgiving. Bonita said that she's getting, her ears are popping and there's no static, but she's getting some buzzing and stuff going on. Yeah. It feels like all of us are kind of coming online because we're being forced in kind of this still area. I feel a lot more centered, and I know when I'm off center. There was a point where
Yes.
it was, okay, I'm getting off centered, and then you're way, way off, and then you're like, okay, now I got to snap myself back. Now it's happening faster and faster and faster, but there's still a lot of processing going on.
Yeah. The one thing happened today though was I just got up and I was just aggravated. You know, I walk out and I see that my children had, you know, had a party after I went to sleep, and there are soda cans everywhere, and, you know, 9 and 14, you just don't know if you should string them up or, you know, check them to see if they have a pulse, because they're both crashed out on the couch. And I was just, oh, I was going to, you know, kill somebody. And the minute I started to feel that, I like bolted out the back door. I'm looking for the biggest, thickest patch of green grass, and I'm standing in it, and I'm, because I just knew that center was so far off from where I was at that moment. And, you know, so once we get back to school next year, that's going to be interesting. You know, watch out, Ms. McDaniel's bolting for the door again.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
think what's going to happen is you're going to be so in tune with misalignments in energy because we're all just in our own mix. Like before we could intermingle with each other, and we had the opportunity to avoid ourselves a lot more and kind of
Yes.
shut down a lot more. Now everyone's really starting to get into their particular groove. So I wouldn't notice if you just happen to be right next to him before he got unbridled, and you're like, you say the right thing that just eases him into the next topic, you know, because I know that it's going to be really interesting because I feel really sensitive. I feel hyper vigilant if I do my essential outing, you know, and I'm just like, okay, that person's feeling that person's feeling that. All these vibes are like a lot stronger. That's what it seems like to me, anyway.
Yeah, I
I just,
know that when I go out, it's the same thing. I've always have to. The other day, I did not get a chance to take a nap, and it seemed like energetically I paid for it because most time if I go out into the world, like you say, the energies are so heavy for me. I am processing that I have to literally go and take a we have to literally go and take a nap afterwards to kind of get myself back center again. And I didn't do it. And my body just said, shoo, shut it down. I just crashed. And it's like you didn't take a nap, and I can't keep on processing like this. So you're right, on the outside the energies are kind of like really different on that aspect. You could kind of just, I guess, going out, you can kind of like feel the shift and the changing, but it looks like it's for the better because I'm looking at the animals. When I look on Facebook, I had my mom cracking up laugh. I say, look like the animals. They're taking back over the earth. They had a picture of lions on the little path of the road in Africa, and they were just laying out, just chilling. I went back, and out there Yellowstone Park, the little bears is back taking over their little area. So it's looked like they like things are being restored. And I seen also they were saying about the ozone layer is a big million something acres or something. It was a hole, and they said that it's actually been filling up, and it's pretty much sealing itself back up because of this. So my thing is that it's just healing. It's, I mean, we look at this thing and it goes back again. Everything that's bad that happens is always something good in there. And it's just interesting of how the things are happening and shifting, and it's helping to heal things at the same time. So that's kind of like us with the twin flame journey. I think about us like in the separation or taken away in that process, something is being healed too. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
way I look at it. Like the symbolism of that is like, oh, wow, it's a deeper meaning from all of this. It says, Jupiter 1111 say nature always finds a way. Yes, yes, it's
Most
always
definitely.
a way to heal it. Yeah,
Oh, I love that. I love so much how we're coming together, and I think we value ourselves a little bit more. Those who are put in the situation where they're allowed to grow in self-love and self-caring. There's a lot of us who realize certain situations are unacceptable anymore,
yeah,
and we're revaluing um, each other's time and energy and effort. You know, and so that's what's really nice. I think we tended to maybe over generalize as a society, and now we're looking at the specifics of each person's importance, whereas it was external. We're going totally reflective. And like I've been studying a couple different astrologers, and they're talking about how that's what's being aligned for us right now, is for us to kind of get to know the self and truly be able to then switch. But those of us who are in the fear, because they're saying that Earth is having a double split, a split. Those that
mm,
are getting stuck in the fear pattern, and those that are getting stuck in the love pattern, for lack of better words, right? 3D and 5D,
Yes.
other generalized term. But when you go 5D, when you can look up, you can look so much more expansive. So I think it goes much bigger than that. But if you're on that train, you're open to and able to accept a lot more. And so if we can spread this concept, because that's part of the isolation. The isolation means we get to know ourselves better and what we really want, but we also kind of, those people that are lost, they don't know what to anchor onto. So they're anchoring onto media
Mm-hmm.
or news or to things like that. And it's really trying to spread paranoia and, you know, anxiety and distrust. And, you know, I'm just so glad I can call it out as it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And it's breaking through to even myself and different patterns that I thought I had gotten rid of, or belief systems I thought that weren't there anymore. I'm finally able to really look at it and clear and say, oh, it's still there. Oh, it just came up. Like I had some ego stuff pop out of me where I was judging myself as not being good enough or not being worthy or something like that, because I let, or even, you know, the self-sabotage, right? Because then you beat yourself up because you didn't take your opportunity or what you thought was your opportunity. But I'm having to come back to the, everything happens for a reason. Everything's happening for a purpose. And you're being set up for success. So what is it that you actually want to step into, and how to trust into that?
I
mm-hmm.
think something else we're feeling right now too is a lot more testing. You know, some of that, not testing as in a bad way, but as in, you know, like we've kind of seen, um, okay, so that you say this is what you want, but is this really what you want, kind of thing, and kind of tossing us into those final really, you know, either it's a security thing or it's abandonment issues, you know, something, it's one of our bigger, whatever our core, one of our major core wounds are. They're kind of throwing us into it and seeing how we respond. And I have found as those have come up, it's been a lot more calmer. You know, take it as it comes. Sometimes it's even one of those, aha, I caught you. You were testing me. I knew that. You know, and so it's a lot more, I guess, easygoing, because you know that the end result of all of this is going to be so much better than you can even imagine. And you know, of however it turns out, be it career, be it, you know, finance, family, you know, business, love, whatever, it's just going, once you get so in tune with yourself, that's just going to open so many doors. And a lot of things have you know, the aha moments. They're not the towers as in crash and burn. They're the, oh, now I understand, you know, kind of stuff. A lot more of that happening right now too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a new normal, and it's a good new normal that we're kind of transferring, transforming. Oh, transferring. Interesting. Why did I pick that word? It is a transference of what we know, I guess, into something new that we need to know. And interesting, they said transference, not transform, into something. I'm like picturing, I guess it's almost old. They're showing me like a temperance, like cup, like water one into the other.
Mm-hmm.
So you're tempering those energies a little bit until it kind of balances. And like even when you're doing from one cup to another, stuff spills out. It doesn't no longer serve.
Love that.
And so that's what they're showing me. So that's kind of what we're kind of doing during these times. It's like filling our cup, let it overflow. And that cup of love, and just seeing like what things no longer serve or can fill into that cup while we're having this isolation time. It's just really important for us to get to know oneself so that we could be able to present ourselves from not only for the world, but even for our divine counterparts as well.
Mm-hmm.
Once we come for this period, and so I know even from my experience like that, everything kind of like shut down, and it shut down for a reason because everything got to hit pause and kind of get to the point that we're now recalibrating at this point. I've seen Benita stated, she said that her girls was on fire. What do you mean your girls was on fire? I did hear some people say also
Oh
that
no,
they
we
felt
are on fire. You girls
sexually.
are on fire.
Oh, that's what
Talking
she
about
meant.
us. That
Oh,
we're
okay, gotcha. But I don't know why I went to the other way. It's like something else was on fire. But okay, all right, we'll keep it PG-13 on this. I keep blinking. But
I do know the planets in my charts. Ethereal
yeah.
Thirst is talking
The
about have we realized what's going on with the planets? I'm
still
doing my
unknown.
best to learn to decipher. There's a lot of
that's something I would love to learn. I really don't know a lot about it. I do know, you know, there are different things that are going on, but
well, I think the major things that are affecting society and stuff right now have to do with Aquarian placements,
Yeah,
Uranus placements, Pluto placements, and Neptune placements, and how we're
yeah,
creating and how we're instantly manifesting and how we're all in this huge, giant shift. And that which no longer really serves the whole planet is being crumbled and being brought to its knees in its forefront. And they are still kind of trying to hide certain aspects of what's going on in the public arena because there's a lot of corruption and dark energy stuff that's out there. That's like ridiculous, like absurd, the amount of like, just the things that they've been doing to human beings, to children. And then there's also the compounded fact that it's been happening for thousands of years. So a lot of things are coming to a head, and we, as a collective, that are able to hold space, are out processing. So if it gets ugly and gnarly, when you're brave enough to stand forward and look at it and say, I'm not scared of you anymore. You are not me. You are just a story, as part, and I'm going to sift through and transfer that energy into something that's lighter, that's better for myself and all and future generations. We're going to see all that stuff start to clear up. And that's that Aquarian, we're working with everything. And that's that heart, we're working with that Leo. Because it's Leo moon right now. So I'm all like, but that's not my
you're
moon.
always like that.
True.
Just
Very
look
true.
up.
I'm very always like that.
Because I know that what do I know we in the Torian, which they said was going to bring a lot of lessons, a lot of lessons because of the Torian energy that we in as well. Like you say, yeah, the age of the Aquarius is coming up, which you know that's new age, and that's coming up, thinking out of the box, new way of thinking, creating a new world. That's coming up as well. Something's happening. What's happening May 7th though?
That's the
Is
new
there?
moon. That's a full moon.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
what I.
full moon.
And the full
So
moon is in what?
The ethereal sorcerer says this age of Aquarius, Pluto is the ruler of the underworld. And yeah, the underworld comes to light. That which needs to surface and come and be purged out is absolutely happening right now. And I think we're working as a global collective because now we're being shut down on a global scale for our communication. So now we're learning, how do I value myself, my immediate environment, and on a global plane, how do we value all of us? You know.
Okay. And she also said this.
Yeah.
Pluto Scorpio energy. Scorpio is related to the subconscious mind, so all of these things are being pushed to the surface.
Yep.
I get so excited. What was it? Somebody I was watching earlier. Was it you? Was it Jupiter? Who was it? But when people are having those epiphany moments, they're just like mind blowing, and I'm just like overly expressive right now. Please excuse me as I figure out how to use my mute button again.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, so that is right now that's what's bringing up the subconscious mind. Yeah, it's a push. We getting rid of, maybe that's why they were bringing me like the water. So that again is like deeper emotional, kind of bring those things and getting rid of, like you said, the subconscious. I think about that too. The mental thing. Okay, thank you. Okay, she got another one. Hold on.
Saying what the blood cries. Can you do that one? The blood cries one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was out for Bended.
The blood crying out for Bended.
I got to hire somebody to do this.
Actually, I hear that's a thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have. Mine are napping. Okay. So.
Right.
But this is that subconscious too, right? These are the underpinnings of what needs to come out. The last shall be first and the first shall be last, in the sense of we're now purging those that really need that next step. And like they're shutting down pedophilia ring, they're like putting people on house arrest, like all the stuff that I'm finding out, like it's kind of crazy.
Well, in this 7 weeks that we have been on quarantine, Miami hasn't had a murder. They haven't had that low a number of crimes since 1956. I mean, it's crazy the things that are happening. Good, to the world when we were kept in, for our own good. But I definitely see a lot of the generational healing happening.
Oh yeah. I pretty much had said that even on this channel. That started back in February. Doing that, it really started, and it's popping up again because I've seen a lot of things. Yeah, when did we go to competition? That was January or February? No, that was March 7th. I clocked it and I named it then, about us getting rid of generational, because I had that incident with my mom and some t-shirts. It's very weird. And my lady who I did the t-shirts with, something about her, I think us back, this is past lives, she owed my family something because it came out, and it came out from back, like from slavery times. And I was like, this is just some simple t-shirts that she owed money for, but she didn't want to give it for. But something within me felt like my family and whole ancestry is like, no, stand against her, because this was ancestral against what she was asking for and what I said I needed. And so we had to make it right. We were right then for all generations, making it right just in that generation from something that she had owed. And it made it, and I was like, oh my God, this is so deep. But that's what we're doing. We're getting rid of those family things, ties and blood ties, and we're making it new. So yeah, we say vengeance is an exposure about some things that we need to get through our families. Yeah, that started. I can clock it. March the 7th, March, definitely in the beginning of March, that started for us. I can clock that. But she said something else. Hold on a second. I did this one. Did I do this one already? She said Scorpio, full moon is highly transformative. Yeah. Okay. Fine. She said find out, ethereal source says 777 said find out where your Pluto is in your chart.
Well, I know that. Mine's in Libra.
Hold on, where that is. Yours is in Libra?
Mine's in Libra.
I got it.
Mine might be. Let me just check. Astrolab has a free one, a nice one.
I'm trying to, okay.
Chart.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mine's is in Libra too. And the DMs is in Virgo.
My DMs is in Virgo.
Yeah, I keep both of those charts on hand. Like,
I do too. They're on my phone.
What's your no, you ain't gotta tell me. I already know what you're doing. Okay. What's the other one she has? Oh, Pluto is in retrograde for 6 months until October. God no.
Yeah, mine's in Virgo as well.
Oh.
Interesante. But she got some every single planet, ladies, is going to be in retrograde. Yeah, they did say that was a very interesting moment that every planet was going to be into retrograde until the end of the year. So what is that?
All the shadow aspects, all the things of that really need deep clearing, we're going to go through. We're going to have all of the different, we're going to be able to study ourselves backwards and forwards, especially since we're stuck in place. We now are able to kind of center and say, this is the clearing. And then you shoot forward like you're pulling back an arrow, a string on a bow. And they're helping us reorchestrate what's going on with the planet. I don't know if you guys noticed in my one video I just posted a few days ago. I was like, you guys, they're about to reveal some crazy stuff that's going to blow people's minds. And then, like, seriously, the next day they're like, the UFO, the Pentagon declassified some videos about UFOs. And aliens. And I was like, we knew they'd been here the whole time. Somebody was just saying, well, I need proof. I want proof. Instead of listening to them higher selves, they decided to stand and be stubbornly obstinate against the obvious clearly. You know,
right.
How could we be logically, how could we possibly be the only living planet and this giant universe? And then now that you know about dimensions, you know, people are hopping in and out of dimensions. We're talking about timeline convergence. We're talking about, we are not caught up to the technology of our ancestors. The pyramids were tools, you know? They could work on they could make planetary bridges. And so we're finally able to say, clear off all this muck, have this memory, because we had lost a lot of wisdom collectively, and we've lost a lot of memory of our past. So we reinvented memory with science by claiming that this is how I'm going to look at it afterward and claim that this is how this was created, when we actually already knew but we keep destroying libraries. Like, they just keep destroying texts, and then things get lost in translation of languages and things like that. So I'm excited. I'm excited because people are turning on. As we see, we talked about at the beginning, everybody's turning on. Where it's going to be huge. I mean, it is huge. I mean, we're so destined for great things. And so finally, like, this is why we're here right now, and we're doing strong, and we're building our, I don't know, I feel like the stuff that's come at us has been hard, right? So we've had to hold our line really strongly, right? But we're so ready, and we're so eager, and we're at the forefront. Now we're just letting all this stuff wind us up to shoot us forward. And sometimes it feels like it's triggering you and setting you back, but you're at a new level. You are not at the same level you were when you first started to purge this stuff out. And you're going to hold strong, and you're going to see the people that are also purging stuff out and hold for them, so they know that they can make it, because we've all come very far to get here now. And the next generation of kids is just going to be, you know, probably walking on water and stuff, floating around, you know. We just need to keep that possibility open for them. Anyway. Yeah. She's got some stuff
it's going to bring. That's what I mean. That this aligns with everything that it's saying, that we're pretty much going into that direction of the new technology, the new understanding, the going back and kind of, they're saying, collecting the past and shifting out what things is suited, and getting more of the truth. Getting down to the center of things, they're saying, instead of going off of what has been kind of filtrated to us on an as need to know basis. They almost did it like our parents did. This is what they bring it to me. And it's almost like, you know, we just tell you what we want you to know so we can still have that control over you. And we're kind of getting to that point where it's now, you can't do that No bars. They say no bars, no limit. We get into that part. No bars, no limit. So we're finding ways to be free right where we are and not to bound ourselves by limitations at this time. And this is why we're in this kind of isolation. It's funny when she said October, I don't know, and I know people are going to be cringing, but it seems like to me, in order for us to really get our stuff together, they really said something else, shit together. We might be in this until October.
Well, they're opening, you know, different places, and we've just been here in this state, been watching the numbers grow, you know, so I think we're going to go back into another shutdown.
Yeah, it's all experimental, what they're trying to figure out what's going to happen.
Yeah. And Florida's a petri dish anyway, so they're just going to try it on us anyway, so.
That's actually, I'm going to bring it up. It's going to be dark. It's going to be dark because of, you know, I watched this special last night that was live, another twin flame kind of focus. It was actually really, really cool. Her point is interesting, and I want to bring that up. What she just put up. Her point is interesting, but first, they are saying that they want to bank on having people distrust themselves, but they forget that we are the space. We are the cosmic space dust. We're the reason that this place exists. And I know this is going to go a little bit racial for just a second. Just saying. The oppression and the racial conflict and the all the hierarchy that we've arbitrarily built as a subconscious foundation in our society is going to crumble. And thankfully, and as a melanated being, we have the capacity as all-knowing. The more melanin you have, the more capacity theoretically that you have as cosmic space dust, which is they say dark matter is very similar to melanin, right? So when we're able to activate that melanin, sunlight, right? Exposure to sunlight, that is what's going to allow us to fully empower our, what's the word when you're not moved by something? The type of love, unconditional love. You have an unconditional love and an unconditional way of being. Now, a lot of pain has been suppressed upon the different groups, specifically the longest groups, which I think are melanated groups, stemming out of Africa and then morphologically changing to their environments, right? And then there's some thousands of years of adaptability. All of the suppression from the mother, right? The very, very first mother was the most oppressed. And so we're now mirroring that. Well, we were mirroring that with Earth, and now we're readjusting because the mother has just shut everything down. She said, you know what? If you're not going to listen to me, here's going to be a little bit of a punishment, which is an inner knowing. We all wanted something to slow us down. Unfortunately, we didn't guide our energy enough that it came as a wave of pestilence, for lack of a better word. We're having way more. This is like the end of the biblical days and the beginning of a new golden age. And so we have the opportunity to build that together. So as we purge in the next few months, all of this deep, almost self-hatred and cruelty. What was said in that video was very interesting. It was said, just because I'm an all-forgiving, all-loving being doesn't mean that you have to oppress me. Doesn't mean that I will accept oppression. And so we're switching now out of that. We're switching back into our power. Didn't you feel like as you've come under fire recently that you've gotten more grounding? And I'm actually aiming this question at her, but she's a little bit distracted. So I'm gonna bring it back. But it's seemingly difficult just so we're forced to look at ourselves. So basically, Kathy D, what I'm shooting at you is, didn't you feel, you're the most transition, didn't you feel that under this diamond making process, the harder things became, the more you're forced to kind of slow down and shoot forward about what you're creating.
Oh,
I mean,
most definitely.
You seem most still and most resonant right now, I think, than all the other processes we got going.
Yeah, oh yeah. I think that, you know, when we slow down, it caused you to, you know, to dig deeper, push harder, heal more, you know, that most definitely. And I love what Ethereal says here, that those that aren't doing the healing and are not aware, they're going to lose their shit. Yeah, no joke. It's going to be a big shock to a lot of people that aren't in that. And you know, just on a side note, and I know this is something that Benita does, is about the kids, and we've talked about the 7 generations and all of that. But the other day, my girls and I went to Walmart, and we came out, and they were so tired. They literally were like falling asleep in the car from the energy, and I forgot, not thinking about it, to warn them about it. So things are coming on to that next generation really heavy, really fast. So that's been something that, you know, we're having to teach the kids as well, you know. And so I'm teaching the girls how to, you know, put the golden egg around them and protect their energy and that kind of stuff.
Perfect. Maybe we should make like a video like that. That would be cool, and we can each do it in our respective. Because like we're all being oppressed, in the sense that what she's talking about right now, in terms of it being so heavy, it's a split. It's a split in consciousness. Like I've had a break recently when people are coming at me. Like it's weird, right? I'm just cruising, living my life, being in this flow, this great vibration, and then all of a sudden someone tries to cut me down so that I can match the vibration or lower down that vibration, and I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. That's not how this works, you know. And I'm thankfully very protected and guided that I'm able to have that differentiation. I used to own all these things. There's a lot of wanting acceptance and different things like that, you know, from childhood, where I would take on too much energy, and I would take it on and say, I'm an empath, so I'm taking on energy, and that's just how it works. No, that's not how it works. Patricia McNealy will tell you that is not how it works. It's useful as a guide, but if you're allowing it to distract you and overcome you from being able to function, then you're not even living in your highest self and purpose. You're living in a fear shadow of someone else or this type of energy. So just finding that space of calmness and stillness and resonating there has been really beautiful.
Jupiter 1111 says interference quantum physics, so it's good to practice holding your field. You have to learn that, especially when you're being empathic, or like you're saying, even like myself, clear channel, and you're doing this work like this. You have to learn how to do that, because again, it will kind of work on you physically as well. And after a while, you get tired of kind of being everybody taking the energies and kind of ciphering off of you. And that becomes a very big way in which you get to know and understand that as an empath, you've got to put some boundaries up, and you got to have some limitations to things like that. When you don't know, you have everybody pulling on you, and I see like that parasite card. Everybody's feeding off your energies, and they can feel that you're empathic like that. And so it's very important that you get to the point that you can put those boundaries up as well. It was something else you all had brought up, but she's gone.
She has. She's getting. It's an oppression. So let's all put some energy and positive energy towards reinforcing her field over there.
What happened?
Oh, she had purposefully had to mute and step away for a second.
So
she's handling business.
Okay.
And she'll be right back. But we can talk a little bit about ethereal sorceress.
Right, that's what I was trying to get to, and then you said that, and I was like, "What up?" Like, like, bring back the retrograde. Who made that?
She said, "Okay, it's going to be twice as hard." That one. Okay, we'll start there. That sounds good. I think that hard is relative to the concept of how you want to vibrate in that particular energy. Okay, so if you say something's hard, it will be hard. If you say something is going to be challenging or interesting or something you really get to grow through, it's all about approach. It's just like the tower can be an aha moment, or it can be a aha moment, right? You're falling from the tower. So if we're aware of it, we can utilize it as a tool, because that's what astrology was given to us for, is a tool to navigate even within our own selves, learning our own basic astrology, starting with your sun, moon, and rising. And, taking it piece by piece, but it is something to practice. It is something to notice. It is something to balance with. And we love you, ethereal sorceress. You're just helping us figure out how to gauge. We all got to start with our conversation. But I'm excited to learn more about this. I'm going to check out. You got a channel, ethereal sorceress? I want to check out her astrology. I want to check out
her channel. Check her out. She has a channel. She does her thing over there.
I will.
Yeah. So yeah, well, we touched upon that, and like I said again, when you talk about those retrogrades, you make it what it is, what you want to come out of it, what you want to learn. Again, like I said, I've witnessed. This is an experiential channel. I've experienced it. Well, they were retrogrades, and I swear, between me and the DM, that was the best retrograde of life. I didn't even know it until afterwards. I read and I looked on YouTube, and it was like, we just had a retrograde, and I was like, word, what? Like, so it's like, again, whatever you put in it, you will get out of it. Just input output, like a computer. So if you're putting in there for it to be that, okay, we know generally it might be a lot of lessons, but like you said, it depends on. You can always ask the archangels for them to say, when they give you those types of lessons, for you to filter it. So give me the lessons, but guess what? Give it to me funny. Give me funny lessons. Give it to me way that I can get it. I've done that, and it was like, ha ha, it's like, okay, I got it. I'm even laughing at myself. That's just how funny this was, this lesson that I learned from this. So it's whatever you put into it. We know they're coming up there, and thank God about astrology. And I'm not knocking about this. I'm just saying this in period. But it became a time I was like a astrology junkie. It's like, okay, what they say my theme, they were sending me my theme. What they say for Aries for the day, what they say for Aries for the day. And then it got to a point, then I was like, you know what? I'm kind of gauging, especially if they said, well, today is going to be a bad day. You know what? You're going to have a fight with a Taurus today. And being down there, and look like a Taurus out of nowhere picks a fight with me. And so it gets to a point that you got to kind of like shut your mind off, especially us being empathic. We also attract those things to us, as well as those experiences and those lessons. So, it's good. That this happening. Okay, a lot of lessons. Okay, planning. I know I need the lessons because I want to become a better version of myself. So if the lessons are coming, let them be ha ha, he he moments, fun lessons that I get in and say, I got it. It was fun. I won't forget it. But we don't want the hard ones that kick us off our ass and knocks us upside the head, kind of like lessons that we can get, unless we need it. Sometimes I have to tell the universe, okay, you know what? I can get hard-headed. So if you feel that I need a little upside the head to kind of get me in the line with stuff, then you can do that. But again, like I said, it depends on what you put. Think of a computer, input, output. That's the flow of things, of how you do things. Okay.
Can you put up Jupiter 11's last one?
Right. Like there is one stream of consciousness around C19 that is in fear and another in faith. We get to choose which flow. Right. And you think about like the baby, like the Bible, you can't serve two gods. It's got to be either or. Which one you going to serve? You going to do the fear, or you going to do the faith? You can't have both of them. And that's back to physics. Two things can't occupy the same space. You got to choose one or two,
Like my mentor, she has this really cool concept about C19 right now, and it's see yourself at 19. Now, what were you like at 19? Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, learning, feeling good. And on this twin flame journey, we know we get younger as we take care of ourselves. We've been growing younger, but we have our discernment from our age and from our lessons and from what we're downloading and stuff. So if we could see ourselves at that energy, that youthful vitality, not necessarily the mindset, but that, look at the face she's making. What is that? What happened? What were you doing when you was 19? What?
I was mischievous at 19.
So was I. But you know what? We're kind of being mischievous right now because we're taking the powers that be.
And then it beeped on me. Ralphie over here got jokes up there. Beep. Like, yeah, you was mischievous. Why I gotta beep and do the daggone siren? I gotta know. I said that. You ain't gotta tell my stuff. Ralphie, be quiet. Raphael. Don't be telling my stuff. These people my stuff. They know me. I am now. You be quiet.
But you could keep going for days when you're 19. Like right now, that's what I'm feeling. Like my skin is getting younger. I'm starting to feel this vibration, and I'm clearing all that deep seated stuff. And that's what we're all doing. So if we can maintain this positive momentum, we're going to continue to see positive results, even in dark periods. Like, you know, what I love when you said, okay, Spirit, you're going to bring it to me. Just bring it to me funny. I had one of those days where it's just like not even cool. For some reason, every time I had a really nice dress on, and I was a do-it-yourself kind of girl, I always had to do some work on my car. So I'm wearing this cute, tight little dress on the side of the road, working on my car, and somebody pulls over and it's like, do you need something? And I'm like, no, I know what I'm doing, but I'm like covered in oil. And then I walk, you know, I take a couple steps, my shoe breaks. I'm just like, all right, this is hilarious. Maybe I should ask for some help. It's okay. It's okay to ask for help.
Benita said she had 2 kids and she was running on fumes at 19. Oh,
oh my goodness. But kids give you so much energy though. Just having them around, because you got to keep going. Yeah, you may be tired, but you're just, I feel like my son fuels me. You get up with that smiling or crying face, whatever. But we keep going, right? You got that motivation. You got that drive when you're 19. Mm-hmm. You don't know where you're driving. You just got it. You just got to keep going. The battery is young and ready to be used.
Yeah. 19, yeah.
So we're talking about seeing ourselves at 19.
How are you at 19?
At 19, I was broken and battered. I had just gotten out of my near fatal car accident.
Oh, so you had a new zest for life.
Yeah, I had, it was August 21st.
Well, that light turned on.
When I was 19. And so I had crushed my arm, collapsed my lungs, one lung on my left side, tore my aorta 6 inches. I had a blood clot on my liver, and on top of that, because Source has jokes, I landed upside down in a fire anthill. So, but yeah, so I'm Dacron and Teflon sealed on my aorta. I'm dishwasher and microwave safe. And, but yeah, I had to learn to walk again. They didn't expect me to live. I should, by all medical, qualifications, I should not be sucking air right now. And if I did, anything over 12 hours with that kind of injury, you're supposed to be paralyzed from your neck down. And I went 14 hours. So I was in that fatal window, and I walk and I breathe and supposed to be on all these IVs. I'm healthy. I was never supposed to have children. I have 2 beautiful children. So, but at 19, I was trying to learn to walk again, and get a new grasp on life, because I had to stop going to college where I was to be an interior designer. Had to totally change my major, change my my college, take a semester off, and spend a lot of quality time with my mother. So that's where I was at 19.
So I think what's happening is, yes, at 19, a lot of us have some heavy stuff happen. We have heavy stuff happen every day.
Oh yeah.
And because there's some stuff coming up in the comments as well about what happened when we were 19. And I'm like, you guys, but when you were 19, you were 19. You got the discernment now. You got the discernment but the body, the energy, and as we go into our practice and we're finding ourselves in union with ourselves, we're growing younger. And that's what I want to emphasize right now as you're getting younger in body, younger in mind. When you appreciate really what's happening, instead of thinking, I've got to be hard and adult and do these things, it's like, where do I find joy? Where do I find happiness again? What makes me have that youthful energy and love and zest for life? Because when you got that passion, the passion of a child and wonder, nothing's going to stop you from putting that chalk in your mouth and eating it, even though your mother's asking you, please just put the chalk down. Anyway, that might be a little bit of venting, but but anyway, okay, let's see what she said.
They nearly died when they were 19 years old too. So you got somebody has the same similar event that happened, life event that happened with you.
Well, and I don't know, for oneness, if you feel the same way, but I know that was something that, spending all that time learning to walk again and stuff, in my case, and spending that time with my mother, as a mother, you never want anything bad to happen to your kids. And she always said, I wish this accident had never happened. And even at 19, I had the foresight to know that that accident happened for a reason. And yes. I would tell my mom, no, I'm glad it happened. It had to happen. It's just part of what I had to do. And I never understood why I said that until, much later in life. But that's also when I really started communing with my angels, and things really started to kind of come back online that had been suppressed as a child on, powers and being able to see things, knowing things, hearing things, that kind of stuff.
Bonita brings up a good point. She says she's talked to you about death experiences, and all of us, she and I and our DMs have all had one. That's an interesting aspect. Have everybody that's pretty much on this panel experienced a near death?
Yes. Yeah.
I know you have. You have. I don't know if it was, because I know I had in 2000 and was it 11? That's before I met the DM. I had surgery for my diverticulitis, and it was extremely serious, where they had to cut out part of it. And I remember it was hurt me so bad at that point when the ambulance people came and got me, and I was just like, you know what, just come and get me. Just whatever y'all got to do, just do it. And so I think I might have had a near death. I guess I did, because I remember me when I came back of a memory of me going in a circle in like a marble flooring, and these extremely tall people had like brown robes on, and I was walking around in a circle with them. And I remember that was like my memory, and I took that with me, and it was like, that means something. They were speaking probably light language. And I remember, and I said, I think I kind of died on the table, but I came back. So that's about the only thing that I would think that I had like a near death experience. I'm just trying to think, but I mean, not on record that I had that, but that's the only time I think I did maybe had that experience as well.
Wow, we've got some amazing people in the chat. Like, I'm just like looking at people's stories, like, dang, y'all, you know how hardcore I think Kathy D is right now?
No.
Yeah, because what we got? Okay.
I'm so proud of people, and so inspired, and like by how people are coming. You know what's beautiful about saying I almost died is that you can say I almost died. and all of us women are doing something much better with our lives and our energies. And we're now able to focus on it, because this is all females in the chat. So if you're male, you're doing something better with your energy. I don't need to over sexualize or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'll keep it plural pronoun.
Okay,
that's crazy, right? But
yeah, that's crazy. When I looked and say, oh my God, so many shared like journeys and trials and triumphs that we have here.
I think that's part of it. I don't think that, you kind of skate through this whole journey. Now, if you've been on it as long as, you know, we all have, it gets where we look back at it and we go, we made it a little harder than it needed to be. Not that it's an easy thing to be on, but mindsets and, you know, what we were taught and old ways of thinking, and society put on us. But I think we all at one point or another had that little, and you gave the best description, Divine Sunshine, in a reading you actually did for me. The cards were kind of all fanning out, and you were actually talking about the DM, and you said Spirit's just going to tap him and tap him and tap him till he gets back in line, and if he doesn't get back in line, they're going to move him. And you push that little card right back in there. And literally, I think that's what this is, you know, for so many of us to go through all these different experiences, because it was just kind of like the universe going, we got big plans for you. You've got to get back. And if you don't get back, we're going to make it serious. And in my case, I was hard-headed at 19, and they made it serious to get me back where I was supposed to be.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That is true. That is true. Yeah, yeah. Because then afterwards, I had that, and about a year after, then that's when I went into had met the DM. So it was just like, okay, get back on course on that. Because I remember when I came out, my family was so funny. They was like, I thought you went to go get your hair done the way you came back from that surgery. They like you were like literally glowing. Everybody said that when I came back. They was like you were literally glowing when you came back from surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow.
So there's some stuff coming up in the chat, which is really interesting.
Okay.
And it's about what the reactions are. Now, there's some stuff that I want to put out here because we're doing this retrograde. We're all allowed to kind of, stuff is resurfacing. It's resurfacing very, very hard. And for those of us who are strong enough, we're going to hold the space for those of us around us. But they're talking about early childhood trauma and suicide, and you know what's happening with that, and being under spiritual attack. And there's, because of the timing with the planets and how all this stuff is unveiling, they barely told us about aliens. And I tell you, that video is over 30 years old. And even though they're going to say whatever with it, it's over 30 years old. There are so many entities and energies that feed off of fear and anxiety and distrust and stuff. And so they foster it. And they watch the experiment of Earth, right? We all have a bunch of knowledge. Look at our ancient technologies that were built by us, but we can't explain it. But that's just because the information has been lost. They have been attempting to terrorize us from the moment we are born, and how we are born in hospitals, and they're using science to justify it. And how when you're removed from the womb, a lot of people are now being taken, not vaginally, but through the other one. I forgot what it's called.
C-section?
C-section. It's not saying good or bad about it, but what's happening is they're coming from this womb space of God. There's an initiation process that happens as you exit the womb. There's hormones and communication that happens between the mother and the baby as it becomes one into this world. And then they're not even allowing people to be aware that it's actually from the moment prior to conception. The souls follow you around and they pick you and they see your story, and they understand, and they're learning, and they're coming from this all into this being. And there's a veil of forgetting that happens as you enter into the world. So when you're entered into it abruptly, especially with C-section and things like that, and the mother is under extreme stress hormones that are being pumped directly into you, or a lot of drugs and stuff, then there's this disconnection. There's abandonment issues, there's feelings of neglect, there's all these things. And then that, coupled with years and years of doing this, stealing people's children from them, selling them to other people for ownership, how they've been treating women, how they've been treating this earth, all this stuff is going to start rising up. Now, these entities, certain people can see them and certain people cannot. And when you have special gifts, it wasn't as accepted because people wanted to survive and fit in, and there was like a whole thing. Now there's a movement where you can be individual, you can be yourself. They want you to be a weird, but not too weird, right? You can be weird, but there's a level, right? And so that's where we've got all these people, we've got so many homeless people, we have so many people with mental disorders and stuff that are popping up. And there's a realm that just isn't understood, and there's a bridge that must be made with ourselves to ourselves so that we can understand our gifts and abilities, and that we actually are all turning this around. So this next generation, even though a lot of them are going to come in with less trauma, they still have the accumulation of that which has not been processed. All of this karmic, all of this DNA data and shattering and suffering, and the entities are now going to become more visible, so you can now see it. So I even like there's painful things and different mantras that people are repeating in their head, and they're not knowing that it's not actually fully them. It's partially them, but it's partially other entities. So there's the as within, so within, so without, as above, so below. On a biological level, I'm jumping around, so please excuse me, but it's flowing through. On a biological level, 10-to-1 human cells to other organisms, just our bodies. So in our stomachs, on our skin, and our eyes, like everywhere, there are other organisms living. In the physical plane, so even in the spiritual plane, there are other things that do this. And some things work well with you, and some things don't. And some things feed off of your anxiety and anger, and they've been allowed to get really strong in a 3D plane, because you're not allowed to say, hey, there's something on me in the 3D, because the 3D doesn't fully allow for the spiritual layers. It doesn't allow for the full chakric layers. It doesn't allow for subtle bodies, for these types of understanding. So if we can conceptualize that our physical body has a 10-to-1, or it's more like 12-to-1, actually, then our spiritual body and things external to us also have a 12-to-1. So this is something that's not really taught to us in most mainstream first world countries. First world countries have been removed from their spirituality. They've tried to suppress it. They've tried to belittle it, demean it. But people need to become re-empowered through their spiritual gifts. And that's part of what we're doing as a collective to build this strength, to build this. So when people are being haunted and hunted by these entities that are wanting them to commit suicide, because you get trapped in a certain plane when you have that type of energy, and you leave the plane, and you can either be stuck and recycle right back in to the same set, or you can kind of evolve and come in as a different layer. And I know that I know some people don't believe in past lives and some people do, but if we think about past lives just on a DNA level, we are the summation of all the past lives we are all our ancestors' lives up until our point. And so some of us actually channel in that energy of our grandparents or our great-grandparents. And some of us can see things through other lifetimes and other experiences. So there's a lot of information in that little chunk that was just said. But as long as we hold strong with each other and we can appreciate a story but not become wrapped back in it, like I was suffering and that's who I was, so that's who I am. If we can let that go and say, that's who I was, but it showed me how to be this better light being. And if that means even just satisfying what is within you, what you need or desire for your own happiness with the love and happiness of others, like a harm it none, that concept, right? Then you're going to allow yourself to flow in this newer, lighter matrix. And as we go into the 5D, we get to pick off the 3D things much faster. Suicide, I definitely think that is an energy or an entity. That is not a natural instinct. Our natural instinct is to stay alive no matter what. If we go unconscious, our bodies will keep us alive. Like you're gonna hold your breath, you're gonna pass out before you can't hold your breath to death. You will pass out. Your body wants to save itself. So you are programmed for survival. There's things that mess with your mind and your energy field that push you into other places.
Yeah, I agree, especially like you were saying that, because I remember that one. I had tried to commit suicide. I was in college. I don't know if that was age 19, to be honest with you. But that when I was doing that, at the same time, I heard the voice say, "What do you think you're doing? You're not going anywhere." And I was like, "What?" I thought that was my reason for me to check out at that time. And so you're right that it does have a way for you to that is going to survive. And plus, you're destined. Not to say like because of us being divine, but again, it's the reason why you're here. And I think about the statement that you was talking about the children. It goes back to the Bible where they say children will be weak, but will be wiser but weak. Each generation is going to be much stronger intellectually or have more power, as you said, than the last. But also because of that strong or strength that they bring in, they're going to be weak at the same time. More exposed, as you said from your statement. That's what I got from yours was more so not we thinking weak in strength, but maybe weak also as far as more so being more attacked in some ways because of that light, that almost like a moth to a flame that they're attracted to.
Well, that's
Um,
your parents too, right? If their
Yeah,
parents
I
are
think
stuck in
that's
that,
our job as
right,
parents. I think that's where we step in and um, recognize these things and don't suppress them. Like has happened to, I'm sure, many of us that have, oh, it's just the light playing tricks on your eyes. You celebrate it. You're a clear channel. You're this. You're that. You're a rainbow child. You're a crystal child. Do you know what that means? And you explain it and you empower it and you celebrate it. I think a lot of times there are children that I see, especially because I see preteen, I teach middle school, um, have been diagnosed with so many things that are treated as if they are a hindrance, and these kids haven't realized yet that that's really their superpower.
right.
And there's just so many things, and that's like with my oldest who has ADHD, it was never looked at as a disability, it was always her superpower. And that's the way it's always been talked about. And I think those kind of things, and that's where we as parents come in, and not just parents, as in, even as twin flames, and this is something Benita and I actually were talking about the other day. We were talking about how we'll just, we'd call each other and I just needed to hear, that one, I'm not crazy, or, whatever, just get that energy exchange going between us. And just like when the three of us get together, it's that energy exchange. It's just, it's, you come off and you just can't help but be happy and just glowing and excited. And we all have that, when we have that interaction with each other. And I think, so as beacons of light, really, when you think about it, in a dark world. And then you figure the next step is, for some of us, as this comes in, that DM is going to join in on that. So now you've got two lights twice as bright that can shine out. And I think that's going to help so many of the next generation. That's really what we're there for. It takes a village to raise a child. And I think that's what we're coming back to, that new idea of family. That family doesn't have to be blood. Family can be friends, family or acquaintances. You've got soul family. There's all of that is going to really start playing in a big part of our culture. We're really going to start seeing that change. And that's something definitely Benita and I have talked about, seeing it ourselves in watching a lot of this that's going on.
Yeah. And I'm with you about that to be cultivated. I thank God that I had both parents. Well, my mom more so because she was gifted. So that helped to kind of cultivate my gift. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
he never did. He knew my had it. He never did shut her down or say anything else about it. It's just like, okay, all right. He did. He was indifferent to it. But as he went older, he started to become. So it does make a difference when you have that openness. The only issue that I find is, well, that in some ways of my parents being so open in that way that when I went to go talk to other people and that using that language, it was a little bit, they're like, where are you coming from? It was that thing. But after a while, people know me, like I've always spoke the energy, their energy, something about their energy is not right, their energy. And so then my friends pretty much got on board with that. It's like, well, that's just part of her routine. That's just how she is. But like I said, I just thought everybody was like that because they were just so open and free with that terminology from, especially for my mother, and to go out in the world and say, "Oh, y'all don't support that kind of talk," like we don't see auras. Oh, okay. Thought everybody seen auras. All right.
Some of us were allowed. Some of us
Mhm.
were allowed, and I feel that the further removed, like spiritual communities that weren't spiritual people, religious people, they allow for the supernatural.
Mhm.
Science, hard science people, and to a certain extent, anarchists, because they base a lot of their stuff on science. They not anarchists. That's the wrong word. What is it? Atheists. That's a big difference. There's a big difference. Anarchists and atheists. Anyway, they don't allow for supernatural because supernatural is and spiritual is the one thing that cannot be defined by science. So it doesn't allow it in the respects. So it kind of discredits it. When
Okay.
science is itself its own religion, although it does have a lot of valid points. Everything works together. I'm not anti anything. I have a science degree, okay, but science to a certain extent is the newest religion on the block. It thinks it knows everything, just like your kid or a child thinks they know everything at a certain point. It's like, yeah. I mean, I can see myself at 19, but I really thought I knew a whole lot more than I did. And now I've got some new layers of discernment, new layers of understanding.
True, true, true. For one, it said I'm merging hard science and spirituality.
There you
To,
go. Yes, you are. We're at the forefront of that. We are we are the beginning of that because we are the ones who are bridging the gaps. Now, do we have full experimentation to prove what we're fully doing? Some do, some don't. But
right.
there's still places you can go and get spontaneous healing. There's still places you can go and learn these techniques. There's schools in India that I've read about but haven't seen yet. I would love to. But their children, they're allowed to fully develop their gifts and they're given space. They're given the space and the knowledge to be able to continue their extrasensory perception, their auto like translocation, teleportation, different things like that, bending spoons with their minds, all of that.
For one, that you say I can explain to telepathy. You
Oh,
mean
that's good.
behind it?
That's cool. I think that it's more like we have to hear her explain it or
Right.
him
That's what I would like to know.
versus
Yeah, I'd love to
we
hear that. I would.
hear them explain it via. Yeah, I'll check out your channel.
I would like that. Is that and interdimensional travel? Yes, which I do a lot of.
Well, that's also part
That's
of it.
something I'd
Right?
love to learn. I
I
think
don't.
I do. I don't.
I don't. That's just involuntarily. I don't know how to control that.
Well, once
I
you have a better working knowledge, I guess you might have better control. Maybe
Well,
Yeah.
I
part of
think a lot of it is like so much of this, like so many of the things we talk about was just always so natural, and I didn't have a name for it, so I
Okay.
didn't know I did it. And so then when somebody said, I was like, oh, that sounds neat, and then it's like, oh yeah, well I do that, So I think a lot of that is just being able to understand and learn it. A lot of times I found a lot of people say, well, I don't have any of those gifts. Well, unless you have, sat down and studied them, a lot of times you've had them for so long you don't realize you've had them. They just are normal to you.
Yeah. Drop your business card in the thing in the chat there. In the Sandbox chat right there for oneness, so we can get on your Instagram because I'm for real. I would like to
Yes, most
know more.
definitely.
that sounds fun. That sounds really
Sure
cool.
is.
It's and one thing is like I feel like we all have this ability. We all have the skills. It's just our mind blocks us.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to give our mind something to work with in order
Right.
for our body to just automatically do it. Like our body will automatically stay alive, right? But we have to. Sometimes we want to try to be stubborn about it.
Yeah, because I mean, I didn't had so many incidents with me that I wasn't even understanding that people have with that travel, dimensional travel, that it
You
was
know,
like
Ascension researcher said something. I did. Our bodies, if experienced when asleep as a young child, always said it. Can't do it now, though. I think that if we allow ourselves to get back on the playground, allow ourselves to get back in that childhood wonderment and joy, and we start unlearning that we can't do something and relearning that we can do everything, or within our limitation, or what's in our wheelhouse, we will give ourselves permission to go back to reawaken these powers, because we need to feel a certain level of safety to become open enough to actually receive and allow ourselves to give these gifts, right? Because it's one thing to have it, it's another thing to talk about it, and it's another thing to practice it regularly. And I think we're definitely moving in that direction.
Yeah, you bring a good point. Yeah, that it seems like when you say practice, that kind of hit me like the cards. It's like we've stopped using that tool. Like my mom always said, the appliance. If you stop using it after a while, it'll start working for you. You might not work the same way. So I figure out, just like we were saying, when we were a child, we were using that kind of gifts and abilities. Plus, when you come down to earth, because of the density and the vibration that we resonate on, it's kind of a little maybe kind of hard. By the time we get taught with what our parents tell us, what the world tell us, what we see and experience ourselves, it becomes bogged down, and it's all that heaviness extra layering on our aura, on our being, for us to be able to kind of reach through that stuff to start going to that childlike wonder, a wonderment of play like that. I call it the Peter Pan experience as well. What's say? Benita says, I've always known stuff, but didn't know how. Just did. It was just normal for me. Yeah, I feel you on that one too. It's just very normal, and that was very shocking. It's like, okay, you all don't do this, and when we are safe, we are very free to open up to do that, to show ourselves and to show our abilities as well.
That's the thing. Well, like, we now can show because we have people we can share it with that are going to love us no matter what we're saying right now, right? We're going to put something out, and then we can agree to disagree and have it be different energies. As long as you're not sitting there fully on just trying to shut people down, like, no, you know what I mean? Yeah, so just flow with it. You are loved. You are in a safe space. We welcome you here. So please.
Well, I love the
like and subscribe, people. Like this video.
Yeah, hold on. Wait the thing here. Wait, let me go across there. We got.
I love when
the disco ball gonna drop too.
I love when Jupiter is channeling, and she said, she always says, "I'm so glad you all understand what I do," because it's normal, it's natural if you've been around it, and whenever you see anybody do that and they don't channel, you start questioning, what are they doing? So I always think it's
you're not questioning, you're like, oh, that's their childhood belief system right there, saying that. Look at them interpreting that the wrong way. They don't know how to do that for Twinflames. I'm just listening.
Well, that's some of it too, but but I just think it's so neat that the Jupiter just puts it out there that how it is to be with a group of people that you're safe, you feel safe with, that you can say, oh, wait a minute, I'm getting another message, and not have them all go so I think that's wonderful to recognize that on a channel like she has, with as many followers as she does.
They're bringing a pinpoint. Oh, I see a light there too. Went there right there. To bring also, so I know it's for me to say it. The point is, it's not for us to be that comfortable just in our community to spread that, but to also remember that our point is to spread it out. Because some of us might get so comfortable, and we think of some of us might have past life kind of experiences where they think like the Salem witch hunt, and we're scared to kind of go on beyond just speaking just in the community where we feel safe, and we think that in some places that some of us that have the gifts, they have those past lives stuck on us, stigmas or things or wounding that happen, that it'll be afraid for us to be able to speak out in public about our beliefs. I have been, like you said, I'm in the forefront, so I'm gonna tell you what's about to happen. Soon after, you're gonna stop just keeping it just in the inner community. You're going to be pushed to tell it out. You're going to be pushed to tell people who you are in some ways, or give them a little kernel of things. Because I know, like the other day, I have a friend, she's also a life coach, but she's just life coach in general, but she's not the spiritual. And I found myself kind of expanding and helping others and telling them just on their level about some of the twin flame information that I think that's practical, that can be helped for them as far as in their lives as well too. So this is just one phase. You're going to be pushed now to come out the little inner circle there and now give it out to the others, but put it in a bite-sized way that they can be able to get it. They can feed on it, but it's still it's still divine talk, but you feeding it to them in the way that they don't know that it's also divine talk to them as well. So that's just another tidbit.
Well, and Jupiter says that she makes a good point about that. She'll say, I just have a feeling, you know, about something, so it doesn't kind of mess with their sensibility.
Yeah. You have to watch how you word in it. Yeah, you can't. Some people you can't say spirit says, and something like, huh? And some things just like, okay, have you ever thought about this way? This is something my gut says. My gut tells me something about that or whatever. But see, like everybody knows, I've been kind of a little bit off centered. So when I say spirit or energy, they like, okay, they understand because I've been talking that way all along. But certain people, you kind of filter it a little bit. But again, like I said, as a light worker, the main thing is not for them to change you, it's for you to change them. And that's what you have to kind of remember about that.
Well, I've always been good at dancing that way.
We need to flow with how the person can receive in the moment. Right, that's true.
Yeah. So
at that point.
In high school, I guess I was a bit of a chameleon. I never really had one group. I floated from group to group to group and just learned the dynamics. And I was the same to all of them, but there was slight different vernacular, just phrasing changes, just so people could understand me, right? And so I learned how to dance with that. Like you've got your super religious, which will shut down at the side of certain things, but you know that within their wheelhouse they can understand X, Y, Z, or even through science they'll shut down as soon as you mention certain things. So if you speak about it in certain ways, they're fully able to understand. And some of us are bridge builders, like you're saying, with using the language. Because the more you say something, repetition works. That was what I learned in language class. Repetition works. So the more you use it, the more the language just becomes synonymous and flowing. And other people will pick it up and start using it too. Because they realize that it brings us more together than it does to separate us. But at the same time, it's really the only thing that does separate us is that language.
Is the language. That is true. That is true. I'm cheeky. I'm a bridge too. Yes. April, did you want to do any meditation?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay.
So what was kept coming through was just doing. We're gonna build a rope. We're gonna build a bridge, a connection of energy, and this energy is gonna tie us to not only ourselves and our high heart, but each other's high heart to build this positive consciousness, this positive flow, and it's going to keep building in momentum. So our new level, we're never going to go back to the same level. We're always going to stay here and above, and we know in our heart that our sisters and brothers and and everyone is standing with us that is doing this meditation. And we can do this I'll go back through and I'll timestamp it so that we can go back through when we're feeling lost or lonely or whatever. We can tap into this energy and know we're not alone. Okay? So let's start with the golden egg building. So let's take a couple breaths together. I like to tap my heels to put me in my body. Just keep breathing. You're going to find your rhythm. Each person is different yet so similar, so connected. Now that we can feel our body Let's begin to feel the air around our body. How thick does it feel? Does it feel like water? Does it feel like milk? Does it feel like cream? Does it feel like butter? How big does your energy feel? Just feel that energy. Now I want you to naturally grow this hue, this orb around yourself, this egg-shaped light. This light shines from within, but creates a nice barrier from what no longer serves, for what is just passing you by as stories. Your true, authentic self is in this egg. Let this egg be translucent, yet shimmering like a nice bubble. It looks thin, but it's actually very thick with spiritual power. Your spiritual power. Let this egg be the color yellow going to orange, going to gold. This gold right on the outside is a silver pearl plating. And it's light purple, light violet. So you've got a nice little shell. Okay, keep stomping your feet. I want you to feel in your body as this aura is active. This aura is alive. This protection is always moving with you and always shifting, so that when you're ready to let something go that comes out and purges itself out of you, you can remove it from your aura. It's not permanent. Okay. Everyone feel their air, everyone feel their aura in the group chat. How are we doing this? You feel good? Okay. I want you to wiggle a little bit, wiggle your hips, allow your spine to loosen up. You're safe to allow your spine to open and allow spaces to form and create. Go ahead and take your hands and place it over your heart area. You don't have to touch. You can either touch or not touch. It's okay. Allow your heart to wake up. In fact, let's go ahead and do the prayer hands, because there's something about the muscles in the back and the front. You're going to open your chest up, moving your heart space and tighten your shoulders. You can feel the back of your heart being protected. Now release your shoulders, but keep your chest open in the front. Oh, there we go. There we go. Let's tighten our shoulder blades together again. One more time. And release. Keep moving. Keep moving. Keep moving that spine a little bit. We're not rigid. We are flowing with our energy, flowing with light, flowing with love. Okay. Now, our hearts activated. Relax. Open in front and back. I want to send this energy out and up through our third eye, through our throat, through our third eye, through our crown, into the heavens. And just right above our homes, right above the tree line, right into the clouds, we're all going to center our light off of the earth. It all goes up into the meridian. So this light comes together like one thread, all of our hearts linked together. Keep moving, keep moving. I want it to be a more moving meditation so you can carry it with you, with your spine. And then, as our hearts come together, we start growing. Our heart energy keeps growing. Our heart orb keeps growing. And we ourselves are stronger because we're connected. Breathe in this light that's coming back to you, this energy that's coming through your safe, protected aura into you. This clear, clean, safe, love-filled, supportive energy. Let out a deep sigh on your next breath, wherever you are. Receive the love and light of all of us together here as a collective, as one love. Take a deep breath on the other side. Receive you. I receive this. Go ahead and release your hands. Put your hands over your lower belly and sink your heart energy. Breathe it down to your root chakra. And if you're having a hard time doing that, tap your heels on the ground. Let the energy sink down into you and root this love, root this high love, root this connection. Root this. Know that the love is here. It's always actually come from the mother herself, because she's the one who fuels us into being. Okay. Go ahead and close your crown chakra off from that energy. I'm going to bring it back into our bodies. Loosen your jaw and shake it up. There we go. Come into the body. Shake the butts a little bit, left and right. Shake your hips. There you go. Come in, open your nose, tap, tap. Feel your body knock on some stuff. Hello, we're in body. We got our aura going. We got it all active right here. Take another deep breath with me. And yes. Okay. How we feeling? How we doing? Good. There we go. Plugged in. There we go.
Come on back in here. Go on back. You're floating. You're floating. Come back. Come back like a balloon.
And
Come
what's
back.
going to be interesting is, as each person does this and watches it later, or if they rewatch the video, you're going to start to feel yourself get even stronger and stronger with each replay, with each viewing, with each connection being made. The whole Earth herself is anchoring, fully anchoring in the heart space for the 5D. Yep, nice. Got some space opened up.
Yes. For one to say, you're so cute, April.
Oh, don't encourage that.
I gave it to my mama.
Hey, go on, shine. Do you? Do it. Okay, I ran right. Okay, you said, oh, my back has been killing me. Oh, okay. We should have released from that exercise right there. At all. Okay, so
You know
we
what?
had.
Honestly, I'm gonna just put this out there because it's a little. It's not a trigger for me, but it's a remembrance for me. My
Okay.
best friend was 36 years old when she died last year, and the last few sentences she said to me was, "I'm dying to see you." Literally, her last post is the last thing you see before you die, and it's a joke, but it's a cat like flying through the air, like at the person, at the camera, and
Right.
we gotta watch our language. We gotta
Yeah.
understand that it's not. It's growing you. You are so much stronger. You're helping so many people. You've informed so much of us about what's happening with the astrology and what's happening within our own, what's about to be unveiled, right? Because all of us are having downloads now that we're having this conversation, now that we're able to get in this space. So I love you, but it's not killing you. It's just making you feel how alive you are.
Right. That is true. That's true. That's true. I say I don't know. Yeah, and for oneness, yeah, my side. That's always from my belief. That it's saying about sorry. That's why I always say I apologize, because sorry is like you bring on like negativity there
Sorrow,
too.
that's a great one. I started saying that
Sorrow.
too. You said that.
I
I have
apologize.
two. I
Yeah,
have two.
that's why I changed the Ho'oponopono prayer. I was like, no, I apologize. Don't say I'm sorry. So on that one, because that's just always has been with that one. So again, so we've hit our 133 thing. So we're going to end our sandbox experience. This felt good, ladies. I like that. We just kind of free flowed and just let whatever things had right. That's right, ethereal sources. My apologies. So yeah. So again, if you like again what we had thrown down and you'd like to work with any one of these ladies individually, you have our own Kathy D from pineapplefishlifecoaching.com, where you can get her to change, give you practical ways and daily things that your techniques you can deal with your daily lives, helps you with that cognitive behavior as well. And then we also have our own Hawaiian goddess made for this goldenlife.com. If you like her meditations that she gave us, she's just so ultra cute. And if you want to experience some more cuteness from her, you can go to madeforthisgoldenlife.com. She can give you tailor-made meditations, things from your exercises and activities with her in sessions that's tailor-made just for you. Also with that, but that's all right. We don't have to do that because we just talk. So divineunisols11.co, come to me. You can get all of your things that you need as far as readings. If you need also works, like we talked about childhood wounds and things of that nature, you can come and get there too for workshops as well. Also, we offer the playground experience there, divineunisols11.co. You can get our program where all of our services are incumbent with that. You can get the cognitive behavior, things that dealing with the body as well, clearing channels, and also with me with the spiritual as well. So if you're interested in getting that package deal, please go to divineunisols11.co for the playground experience program. Okay. Is there anything we say the playground? Well, like, duh, we know that's what it is. But just
did you want to do a card?
You want to see a card? You want to see a card?
You know what card she wants.
Look, the biggest thing I got is in Kathy D's name right here.
The McNealy cards. You don't want the McNealy cards. I'm kind of being poor, but that one is so long. Oh,
but yeah, the sacral chakra has been highly charged in this energy.
Yeah.
Well, that and the Scorpio new moon, the Scorpio full moon is no joke. This is so funny.
Okie dokie. I forgot. Let's end that with that. Clear. Oh, come on back in here. Let's see, what's the energy? I'll do the abbreviate because they are extremely long. This is the Marumi cards? No, this is Atlanta Fairchild. That's Marumi ones. Okay, I didn't put that one. Okay, concentrate. Concentrate. There we go. Heart fire.
Ooh.
Heart fire. Looks like a blossoming of a flower to me when I looked at it. And the number is 1. Ta-ta-ta. Messages of guidance. That's what it said for you all. Oh, no, it's not that long. Okay. Sorry. All right. Passion is igniting within you. It is not a time when things will remain still, even if the change is only sensed as a suitable stirring underneath the surface of things. Even if slow at first, passion will unfold from within your heart, soon to be burning bright like a sun unrestrained. You are learning how to ride waves of passion through eruptions of heat and descent into coolness, bearing the absence of fire, only to realize it is returning to you again. Ride its waves, knowing that passionate bliss will always return to a heart that is on fire with love for life. The coolness allows us to experience the heat. Once you realize that the fire emerging from within you will ebb and flow, you will trust in the presence. You will realize that whether your passionate fire is obvious, drawing you into life, or dwelling quietly within, gaining power from the deepest sources of your being, soon to rise once more. It is a constant in your heart. Accept the fire of your heart and know that this is how you are meant to be, on fire with love for all that is. This oracle brings a message for you. Trust the passion and the fire of your heart to guide your decisions now. What would make you feel most alive? Choose that. If you are feeling a lack of genuine passion in your life, take comfort that it is awakening in your own heart now, bringing something that has been long in rest back to life. Life unfolds in wondrous ways, and time together fills the days with unexpected gifts beyond our wildest dreams, like open hearts as feelings start. To face the longing when we part, our souls know that this is more than what it seems. In gratitude, I offer prayer with thanks for this love so rare. Asking guidance on the sweet sojourn, the answers come in tears that flow. Emotions raw and smiles that show. Becoming one is worth the wait until I can return.
Oh my goodness. That's
That's
so
oh,
perfect.
Lord, that was perfect. That's
That
everything
was.
we talked
And what we talked about on Wednesday about being in union with soul,
Are your tears
with
coming to
ourselves.
yours too right now?
Mm-hmm.
about.
Because tears are coming to my eyes too. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. And the heat started coming through, the filtering.
And the
Oh my
chills.
goodness. Yes. This is love right here. We are on.
Love. They kept on
It's the love boat.
I ain't pulled them out in a while.
We will be making another run. Come aboard.
No running. No more running. No more running.
No more running.
You can
Yes.
go in the ocean.
Yes.
According to the new laws, you can go to the beach in the park. You can go in the ocean.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh
Our
my God.
beaches are opening soon. So
Yeah. Yes. Well,
Well, thank
yes, we
you.
on fire, oneness. We are on fire. All right, then. That is it. You all did that, but that's a beautiful segue to end on right there. Our hearts are on fire. So feel that, take that with you. That resonate. So as always, signing off, April Williams.
Aloha.
well, always remember to empty the sand out of your shoes when you leave the sandbox.
There you go. And as always, stay uplifted, stay ascended, stay motivated. Namaste, nama go. Love you. All right. And then, we need about 60 search about 4 oneness. Bye. Who I'm missing? Hey,
Did
well, they
you say
on here like, girl.
I'm
Bye,
here.
love it. I'm trying to scroll real quick. Did I get everybody? Benita. All right, and that's it. And cut.